Hi, everybody listening. Welcome once again to yet another podcast episode. We are excited to have you here. This is a very different kind of podcast, and it will be a series of podcasts the next few weeks. And I'll be telling stories about my experience as a creative and what I have learned. In fact, I will tell stories as I derive lessons from that story that will help you become a better creative, especially for those that are starting out. It will help you not do the mistakes that I did or some of us have done as a creative that will cost you a lot of time and cost you a lot of money. So if you have not subscribed to this podcast or whenever you're listening this from, whether it's on YouTube via video, make sure that you click on the subscribe button. On YouTube is red. On here you just click on the subscribe button and be a part of our podcast members so that you can have these lessons. So we will have approximately around 6 lessons that will derive from the stories that I have developed or I have gone through life. And I will start with the first one. Today's episode is about don't be desperate, because I think one of the most unfortunate thing about us creatives is that we become so desperate. And what happens is that when a client just senses a scent of desperation, they really take advantage of you. And what they do is that they see that vulnerability and they come and exploit it. When they see, oh, this guy really wants the job, they will bargain from 5,000 to 3,000 bob. And because you are that desperate person, you will go ahead and book the job. So desperation is a weakness. Being desperate is a weakness, is a loophole, is an opportunity that every person senses. Even right now, when I go to a shop to buy something, the first thing I do, I just look at the vulnerability of the person I'm buying from. Does he really want the money? Like, for example, hawkers, you can tell this hawker really needs the money, and he can even sell you something the exact price he bought it without any profit because he needs the money. And that's the disadvantage of being desperate. So what we will do is that I will give a story from my experience that has made me learn not to be desperate. I know sometimes we cannot choose not to be desperate because of different reasons. The state we are in, maybe we have not had any work for a whole month and this opportunity comes and it's the only one. You don't know whether there will be another opportunity, and so we have just to be desperate. But yes, don't show it to people, because when you show it to people, then they take advantage of you, and some of them will take advantage of you for years and years and years. So this story leads me to the year 2018 and the year 2017. And what had happened here is that I had finished my campus in early 2016, around the beginning of the year. And so what had happened is that I really did not like the course I am doing. For those that don't know, I have done Bachelor of Science in Horticulture. Horticulture is the study of fruits, vegetables, and flowers. So I was supposed to be in the agricultural sector. But then on leaving campus, what I thought was supposed to be life after campus, where you just go get an interview and you have work and all those kind of stuff, they really did not work. So the next thing I did was try to look for a way I can sustain myself. So what I did is that I immediately tried to look for a skill that I had that I could turn into something to earn money from. And the immediate thing was photography, because I had done media work in school for a while. I knew I could take good pictures and all those kinds of stuff. So to cut the long story short, through a series of months, I was able to borrow a camera that was a church's camera. I started taking photography of the church events, like the Sunday school convocations, some of the church services. And then my parents saw that I had a lot of passion. And one time my dad was traveling abroad, and he asked me, what do you want? And I told him I would want a camera. So he brought me the Nikon D3300 with its kit lens and all those other accessories that people in abroad get that we don't get. So he brought that whole package to me, and that's when I knew I would start my photography career. So I really struggled to do a lot of work because I could not get clients. I did not have a portfolio. I was not really good at taking pictures. So remember, I have a camera and a kit lens, and I don't know how to take pictures. So the combination of a bad lens and lack of skill and a camera that is not very professional for a beginner. That combination made me a really bad photographer because the pictures themselves could not show that I was a good photographer. But to the luck and maybe God's blessing, I got some clients, and I would get a client who would pay me 2,500, another 2,000, another 3,000, and so I was operating. The more I really have ever earned from photography that time, I earned I think 3,500 from a photo shoot, and it did not really come out very well. But the client really got happy because he paid very little money. So this is where desperation comes in. So after staying for a long time without good work, because 3,000 in Nairobi cannot sustain you really, and it's like 3,000 like this week, then after 2 weeks another like 2,500, and I was living in Nairobi Ngara. My rent was 7,000 that time, so all the money I was earning, I was paying rent and paying food. Then one lady from campus, we were studying together in campus, though she was way ahead of me. She was getting married, and I get this message via messenger: "Hey Jonathan, we are planning for a wedding. Could you please send us a quotation?" And I was so excited. So what I did, I quickly prepared a quotation. I have never done any wedding photography before, even videography. I had never done that. So to my guesstimation, I said, okay, for me to be able to get this job, what I will do, I will not only quote for photography, but photography and videography. So what I did is that I wrote a quotation, and my quotation was 55,000 shillings. So I want us to walk slowly through this whole process and see how really desperation or being desperate is detrimental to your business. So I texted 55,000. And then I put there, I will give a photo album. I will come with 2 videographers, 2 photographers. I will pay my own transport, and I will have a mount board for them for a wall mount. And I put a very big wall mount, an A2. So then she came back to me, and I think that is this way clients are able to sense that you are not really sure what you are doing, and a bad client will always take advantage of you. So what happened is that this is so funny. I get a text and said, okay, that's above our budget. I think we can only afford 50. And I text her back. I told her, okay, I think I will give you a discount of 5,000 shillings so that you can have up to 50. Then we rest at that. And then she tells me, but then we need photos for the pre-wedding. And I tell her, no problem. With 50,000, I can just come on the day of pre-wedding and take pictures. So during the day of the pre-wedding, I walk all the way to town in one of the venue houses, and I enter and I take the pictures of the pre-wedding. And now that's how even I get to meet the committee. And they tell the committee this is the photographer and he will be taking pictures for us. Then they tell us, and by the way, we also need photography and videography for our rorashio, the dowry ceremony. I tell them, okay, that is a bit expensive because we will not be able to pay our fares. And they say, okay, if you cannot, then we will get another person who can. And I tell them, okay, no problem, I will do it, but then you'll have to offer transport. And they said, no problem, we'll offer transport all the way to somewhere in central Kenya. I won't say the name. And so we went to central Kenya, did a video. We were with my friend Eric Moremi. That time we were roommates. And so we go all the way to that place and we take the dowry ceremony and we take the video, come back and edit the video. Remember, this is all at the cost of 50,000 shillings after I have given a 5% discount. Now, this will lead me to another lesson which will come after, where now you need to really understand the scope of work, because as you can hear my story, there is additional assignments being added on top. So Mara, you have to take photos during my tea party. Then you have to take photos and video during my dowry. Then when we come back, I give them the photos and they are happy, and they say, and by the way, we need an engagement shoot. So an engagement shoot is not some real thing. So they will pay the venue. So we go to the venue and we take pictures, but unfortunately they come late. So what happens is that we could not take very good pictures because they came late and the sun was going down. Remember, I did not even have a speed light. I just have my camera and my lens. So by the time it's getting around 6:30, I cannot take photos with a lens that is 3.5 to 5.6 aperture. It's a variable aperture, and all kit lenses are not very good lenses, especially when you don't have light. Those lenses cannot do a good job. So what happened is that they really got angry about the outcome of the pictures, and they told me, Jonathan, you have to give us a second engagement shoot. Now I am looking at that. If I don't give them a second engagement shoot and say that I'm spending a lot of money and time on their wedding, then they will go to another person. And I have already invested so much time. Remember, I have already gone to their dowry negotiations and taken pictures. And by this time, I have not even been paid my deposit. Not yet. I have gone to take pictures of their tea party. I have done their first engagement shoot. So by now I am seeing I have done so much work for them. If I refuse the second engagement shoot, I'm going to lose the work, and at the end of the day, I'm the one who is going to lose entirely. So I decided to do them on the second engagement shoot, and we went somewhere along Thika Road and took the second engagement shoot. All this was in 50,000 shillings. Remember, all these travels I'm doing, except going to the dowry negotiations, I am spending my fare because I was not driving then. I'm spending my time. I'm using my camera over and over again, so it's even depreciating. So who is taking care of that cost? So after finishing that, then we go to the day of the wedding, and just before the wedding, the venue of the bride changes. And it's no longer somewhere in Nairobi. It's at the bride's home, which is somewhere like 2.5 hours from Nairobi. And these are things that I had not been told. And this is still in 50,000 shillings. If you do the math right, before even we started the wedding, I was already down my deposit, because the deposit I charged was 50%, which is 25,000 shillings. Calculating the trip to Central Kenya, calculating the 2 engagement shoots, then you calculate that I have to go on Friday the previous day and go and take the pictures for the wedding during the bride's preparation in the morning, then come back to Nairobi. I have already spent my 25,000 shillings. Yet I have not even produced the photo book, the board. I have not paid the photographers and the videographers. And so my desperation did not turn to any profit. In fact, that whole wedding, I had a loss of almost 10,000 bob. I had to go back to my pocket to give 10,000 bob, because I had not even, I remember even I stayed for a whole 8 months without delivering the deliverables, because I did not have money even to print the album or the photo book. And so that taught me a very great lesson, that there's a difference between determination and being desperate. Being desperate will really put you in a pit, because you will get prices and offers that are ridiculous. And this is because the client will always sense that you are desperate, that you really need this thing so much. And anytime you are in a place where you need something so much, you'll always get an offer. As long as you need it, you'll always get an offer, and you'll get ridiculous prices. And I already forgave those people, because I really felt they took advantage of me because I was a new photographer. Too bad I lost more jobs, because I lost jobs even of their sister's wedding and some other friends that we were schooling with in JKUAT. And it was extremely, extremely frustrating. And that's when I knew that being desperate does not benefit you. It kills you over and over again. And so even right now, when I try to do the mathematics, in fact, right now I can do a wedding of 50,000 shillings and I will still make some money. Very little money though. But that time, I did not even have the skill. I did not know any good videographer. I did not know even where to print photo books, which I'm coming to that in our next episode. And so make sure that you are not desperate, because when you are desperate, that smell, that sense of desperation always runs around, and one person will come give you an offer that you won't refuse. Why? Because you need the money. You need to pay your rent. Yes, that's okay, and I understand. But the point where you're vulnerable, that you can take anything as long as you get paid, it does not only kill the industry, it kills you. First of all, that client will never come pay you any more money than what he paid you at first. And so that's what we are saying. If you can just struggle for a while, but then charge your value instead of being desperate. That's all we are saying. And I hope that that story has given you a sense of how you can really enter into a pit and make losses and never do well in business because you're desperate. You will take prices that are ridiculous, and people will always add you things on top. Oh, I want an engagement shoot for 50. How can I do for 50,000 shillings? I did 2 engagement shoots, went for their tea party, went to their Rorashu and all dowry. Then I almost did an evening party in Nilikata. I refused, but then I traveled all the way to central Kenya to the bride's home and back, hiring a vehicle, and I had photographers and videographers to make. At the end of the day, I made a loss in that wedding. So it was better that I had not taken the job out of desperation, because I had already spent 10,000 from my pocket. I remember even when coming back, the vehicle we had hired from my cousin, ilisha mafuta. It just went dry on Park Road in Gara, and it was raining profusely, and we had to push the vehicle to the petrol station. And in fact, that time there had been a rule that you cannot be sold petrol in mkebe, in a bottle. But then, so the only amount you could be served was 1 liter. So Eric, my friend, took a bottle from the vehicle we were in, went and bought 1 liter. So then 1 liter was, I think, 100 bob. So we can put in the vehicle, but then it was not enough to start the vehicle because it was extremely dry. So what we do is that we had to push the vehicle reverse into the petrol station so that it can be fueled. And that's when we were able to go home. And that time it was around 8 in the evening after a whole day of a very stressful wedding, and yet I am at loss. And that's how desperation is a disadvantage to your creative business. Hope that has been of great help. Next, we go to something we call you have to acquire skill fast, because that was the only problem that I had. Desperation was not the only problem. It was my first wedding. I had never done a wedding before. This is my first wedding. That's why even I did not have experience of putting on costs, of saying no to some deals. I just went yes with everything. I did not have skill. So in the next episode, we talk about why acquiring skill is important, so that you cannot mess your clients. So until next time, hope you have liked this episode. You can share your comments on the comment section below. Make sure that you subscribe, share with your friends and family. Tell them, all creatives that are your friends, please do not be desperate, because if you are desperate, then people will take advantage of you. And until next time, always continue learning, practicing, and creating. That is what will make you a successful creative. Peace. Hi there. Thank you for listening and watching our content. But before you continue or leave our channel, we have an announcement for you. Do you know that we have a podcast? Yes, we do. In fact, it has been there for a while. Some of the content we have on YouTube and social media are short forms of what is in the podcast. So we have longer and more in-depth conversation going on in the podcast, and it's very easy for you to listen while walking, driving, or even working on your computer or even your kitchen, anywhere, anytime. The content we have on the podcast is about business, stories and experiences in the creative industry, strategy, and how you can market your business so that you can grow your business and scale to the next level. Our aim is to help you make a living doing what you love. If you want to be part of the success stories from our podcast, join in and listen to our podcast by visiting www.photolaunchers.com/podcast, or click the link in the description below to go directly to our podcast. Thank you for your time. Hope to hear you in the pod.